Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Playeasy Warmup. I'm your host, Kerri Shields, co-founder and president of Playeasy, and today I am super excited to have two co-hosts to start off this intro. Two of my teammates and coworkers, two females who make every day a little bit brighter, Sarah Capuzzi and Brenna Collins. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us. Super excited.
So for those who might not know you, could you guys give a little bit of your background and what you do at Playeasy?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I am Sarah Capuzzi. I am the Director of Digital Marketing and Engagement here at Playeasy. So I work very closely with Kerri and Brenna on our marketing efforts, and I'm also on our community success team. So really here to ensure that our destinations have the best experience possible. Awesome. My name is Brenna Collins. I'm the Director of Media Solutions and Content here at Playeasy. So also work closely with Kerri and Sarah here, kind of Sarah's right-hand man. So do a very similar role, just kind of working with our destination partners and ensuring our marketing and advertising is up and running on the platform.
Love it. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I know I kind of made you do this, but I'm excited to have two of my teammates help me with this introduction. And so first, to start out this episode, let's take it back to last week's episode with Eric Lopez from Bass Fishing. Could you guys give maybe an insight or two, something you learned? I know that we were bass fishing was very foreign to us before starting the conversation with Eric, and we learned a lot just about the sport in general. But how about some key takeaways from that conversation that we had? Sarah, I'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was awesome to hear from Eric and learn everything that goes into bass fishing, as you mentioned, working super closely with our destinations. One of the questions that we are always asked is, how do we host a fishing event? So hearing that really from a destination's perspective, if you have a body of water and a boat launch, there is an event with bass for you. We saw from Eric that they just have a great team that you can work with to put on a great event, and it will have some great visibility for your destination to get that stamp of approval for fishing. So it was awesome just to learn what goes into that on a destination side of things.
Love it. Brenna, how about you?
Yeah, I was fascinated by the conversation as someone that grew up just pond fishing with my grandpa. I had no idea how huge the sport actually is. I thought one of the topics that was really interesting was just how you can engage a new generation in sports. I think particularly for bass fishing, it was clear that, they have a lot of fishers that have been around since the 60s, but then it's also how do you tap into the new generation and their techniques? How does the sport work in new technologies, and how do they kind of enhance their marketing tactics going forward? So I think that could be a topic across every sport. So super interested to learn more there as well.
I love that. And I thought it was cool to see. I mean, we work with over 140 sports at this point, and obviously each sport is different in their needs, how they operate. But I thought it was cool to hear from him about the event experience and how important that is across every sport that we have. So I loved diving deeper into sport that was pretty foreign to us before. Now I feel like we could all be anglers out there, or at least know the terminology. So that was a great conversation with Eric. If you missed it, I highly recommend listening on Spotify, Apple, or on YouTube. But let's get into some recaps of news for this week.
Awesome. So first up, we have some big news out of Lake Tahoe. The Tahoe Night Monsters are a brand new professional ice hockey team, and they are lacing up their skates for their debut in the ECHL's 2024-2025 season. This team, which is owned by Tim Tebow and David Hodges, will call the Lake Tahoe area home, playing out of the newly built Tahoe Blue Event Center. Awesome. And then Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk in Overland Park, Kansas, had its grand opening this past weekend. The celebration featured live sports demonstrations, open ice skating, court and turf activities. The venue features an NHL regulation-sized ice rink, 8 basketball courts, 40,000 square feet of turf, and an esports center, and much more. So big thanks to come at Blue Hawk, and congrats to all of our partners there.
Awesome. And so the Bay Area Host Committee and San Francisco travel partner to celebrate the power of sport in San Francisco and the greater Bay Area, with 3 major global sporting events taking place in the Bay in the next 2 years. With Super Bowl 60 and FIFA World Cup 2026 in San Francisco, we can't wait to see the excitement to come.
And some more exciting news for our partners in Maine. Portland, Maine has been named Sports Business Journal's #1 minor league sports market for 2024, with teams like the Portland Sea Dogs, Maine Mariners, Maine Celtics, and now the Portland Hearts of Pine, Maine's newest pro soccer team debuting in 2025. This city is a true hub for minor league sports. And lastly, some exciting RFP news. There are several new RFPs on Playeasy, two of which will start with one being the National Collegiate Wrestling Championships. They are currently looking nationally for a host for 2026 and 2027. The event will bring teams from over 160 different universities plus 10,000 spectators. And then we have the National Association of Historic Baseball Clubs National Championship. They are also looking for a host in 2025. This event will bring 16 of the best clubs in vintage baseball. Super cool. They play to the rules of 1864 baseball. And the event is searching within 500 miles of the Pennsylvania area. So be sure to check out both opportunities on Playeasy and reach out to see if you could be a good fit.
Love it. I have to say, having some teammates help me with the news is a lot easier. So very much appreciate your help on that. But so let's dive into the conversation we had with Anthony Terling and Travis from Auburn-Opelika. I know, Sarah, Auburn-Opelika is one of your accounts. Could you talk a little bit about the conversation that we had and maybe some takeaways from this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. I was super excited to listen in on the conversation with Travis and Anthony. It's been awesome to see everything they've done as a destination. Travis, I worked with him from the time he was an intern for Auburn, so to see him back in his role as event specialist has been really cool. And Anthony is obviously a thought leader in the industry and a great person all around. So it was awesome to hear everything they're doing in Auburn and Opelika. But my biggest takeaway was that so often in the sports tourism world, we are hearing about economic impact in that word, and that's obviously a great thing. But I loved hearing how Auburn really takes their work to the next level to stick to their mission and better their community with every event they bring in. I thought that was truly inspiring to hear.
Love it. Brenna, anything to add?
Yeah, I think just talking with Auburn over the years, it's clear how incredible their team is, but it's also become apparent to me just through the conversation that you had really how close their relationships are throughout their entire destination. So really how important it is to have those connections with your local city, with the hotels, with the venues, and their university. I feel like it really brings their events to the next level. So super, super cool to hear them talk kind of from their perspective, how they work with all of those different parties.
Yeah, and I think it was clear to see and hear. I mean, we've gotten to know them over the years as one of the first destinations that have used our technology, just the passion that they have for their community and the impact that they're having. Everyone who works with Auburn Opelika has been such a joy to work with and have really helped us figure out ways that we can continue to help a destination like theirs through our software. And so I'll throw a question at both of you I didn't prepare you for, but how, for someone who is not as familiar with Playeasy, how does Auburn Opelika use our technology in order to enhance themselves as a sports destination?
Sure, I can kick us off. So, we like to call Playeasy the digital sports tourism engine, and we have four main engines that allow destinations to showcase everything they have to offer, win business, and measure their impact. So, the first thing that Auburn Opelika does is they market their destination. So, they have a profile that showcases everything that they have to offer within Auburn and Opelika, and they can create posts and share content, highlight all of their facilities, local businesses, really anything you would want to know about Auburn and Opelika you can find there. And then after that, we have our sales tools, which allow them to make connections with new event organizers to bring new events to their area. We have automated lead gen matchmaking. So if an event organizer knows exactly what they're looking for, if it's a good fit for a facility that Auburn has, they'll get an alert and they can connect that way. And then we help them with some reporting to know what potential impact those events could bring to their destination.
Awesome.
Sweet. I can finish us off here. It kind of all comes together on the event experience side. So once, destinations land an event or if they have any recurring events, they can essentially tie all of that content together on a pretty robust event microsite. So this brings in their entire community, whether that be their local attractions, offering deals and discounts to visitors. They can also tie in their hotel partners, so they can either showcase contracted nights with room blocks for different events, or they can utilize Playeasy for live hotel booking for any participants or spectators. And those are all Google optimized, so we're seeing a lot of traction just kind of across the internet on those different pages. And then, of course, you really need to be able to track all of this impact together. So it really all kind of finishes in the data engine. So we essentially provide real-time analytics reports across your entire destination, whether you're looking to track the economic impact you're bringing in through the leads you're receiving through Playeasy, or on your event pages, how many people are viewing those pages. You can track actual hotel bookings, promotion redemptions, so you can kind of report back to the community all of the success they're providing, and how Auburn uses the platform is pretty creative and just tying together their entire community and then really being able to track all of that on the back end, which has been very interesting to see.
That was great. I love it. And we will link their Auburn-Opelika's profile on everywhere that we're putting this podcast episode out. But I think you can see just from their profile why they're called the Everything Cities. They have over, I think I checked this morning, over 30 sports that they're marketing on their event page for upcoming events that are happening in Auburn-Opelika, as well as the different facilities. I know we touch on their pickleball facilities, some of their outdoor facilities, some of their trails, mountain biking. It's awesome to see. But thank you guys for that. That was great.
Yeah.
I loved this conversation. I got a lot out of it, and I'm excited to continue this partnership for years to come. And so I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we did. And Brenna and Sarah, thank you for joining me on this intro. I'm excited to have you guys on more moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you. This was so fun.
Enjoy it, everyone. All right. Thank you. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Playeasy Warmup podcast. I am so excited to have this conversation today. It's our first two-person podcast. So we have Anthony and Travis from Auburn-Opelika Tourism. Anthony and Travis, thank you so much for being here.
We're happy to be here. It's exciting.
Super excited. Thank you, Kerri, for having us.
Yeah, of course. You guys were actually one of the first destinations that we worked with at Playeasy. And so we've been able to build a really great relationship over the years. So we've always appreciated your partnership, and I'm excited to dive deeper into all things Auburn-Opelika. So first, could you guys both give us a background of how you got to your position today?
Yeah. So actually, I was a student at Auburn University studying public relations, and the president and CEO, Robin Bridges, here taught a multimedia writing class. And through that class, I was just so impressed with, the type of leader that she was, the type of teacher that she was. She was a very unique teacher who cared very deeply about us learning the material and applying that material to everything. I was like, this lady's awesome. Like, this is someone that I can learn from for a long time. And part of the curriculum is needing an internship. So I approached her near the end of the semester and I was like, hey, Robin, like, do y'all provide an internship? Like, I'm very interested. I didn't know anything about the world of tourism. Got an interview, got the internship, spent time as an intern doing lots of communications, and event work, because we had, events coming in that the interns have to work, like the American Junior Golf Association. Upon graduation, I was going into my senior year. That was the summer going into my senior year. Upon graduation, I actually went and worked for the American Junior Golf Association as an intern, a relationship that was possible completely because of the internship I had here. And when that internship ended, I went back to Houston, Texas. And after living in Auburn for 4 years, I was like, I miss the small town. Like, I miss the culture there. Like, Houston's too big. It's flat. I got used to the hills and the greenery around the Auburn area. And so I wanted to come back to the Southeast, but I didn't really know what that looked like. And so I reached out to Robin because we had such a good relationship and I had so much fun working here, just asking her to help me network with other entities within the Southeast. And she responded to my email and said, "No, I won't help you network. I'd rather just hire you." And then the whole conversation started of, okay, well, how does that work? Like, what does Auburn-Opelika need? What are the skills that I have? And how can we build a role for me here that, accomplishes those needs and fulfills those needs? And so it was a few weeks of talking with Robin and her talking with the team here. And there was always a kind of a disconnect between the communications team, the sales staff, and the events staff. And so my role as our marketing and experience specialist is kind of bridging that gap. So I'm directly involved with the sales team and the events team, but as well the communications team. So I wear a lot of hats here, which allows me to get all sorts of experience. And with the ADD that I have, it's great because I'm just able to keep track of everything super easily. No, but it's fantastic. I mean, and that's just a little bit about me and how I got here, but it's been a dream, and I got a lot of experience throughout it and understand the world very well of tourism.
Love it. Anthony,
Yeah.
how about you?
So my background's in sport management. Went to school for that, started out in pro sports, worked for the minor league system of the Tampa Rays, doing TrackMan, basically tracking all the analytics. As we know, Tampa and a lot of major league, or really sports, is huge in analytics. We need that information. So did that for a little while, realized once you get over working for the brand, I'm a big family man and love community impact. And so worked in state games. Industry is very familiar with the National Congress of State Games and then a lot of states that have them, and Alabama has a very healthy one. So I got to oversee sports and events, and then oversee the event as a whole before I left there. So anything from A to Z to sport planning, anything you can imagine. But one thing it taught me was I was working with CVBs and sports commissions, and I was like, what is this tourism thing? And then it's like, oh, wait, we're creating tourism and we're creating an impact. And story short, through a network of knowing the former CEO of Auburn-Opelika Tourism, who just recently retired, with a network of USA Team Handball, it brought me to an opportunity when you saw a lot of the CVBs adding sports-specific focused employees. And so I fit that bill, and the rest is history. I've been here 7 years, and for the first 6 of those, I was handling sports and event development. So really just selling our market, promoting our market, managing those events, and then growing those events. And now I have an opportunity to be the director of sports development for our area. And so really it's just, as I tell people, economic development for sports. So anything from facility development to local grassroots sports growth. If we want a diverse community, we need kids and adults playing all types of sports. So that's my role now, but it's been a great journey, and AO Tourism is a great place to work.
Yeah, it's funny because the more people I talk to, I love hearing people's background because there's no one way that people have gotten into this industry. And when you say, what is sports tourism? That's I feel like how we all start at it as sports enthusiasts. And so I know it's been great to see how much your team has grown. Anthony, you're being humble, but recently promoted, and your team has been such a pleasure to work with. So just to start off, Travis, could you give us a little bit of background on what is Auburn-Opelika Tourism? What is your mission, your goals, as a team?
Yeah, I feel like we're a very special place, and obviously I'm extremely biased, but the team that we have here is very unique. We are very close. We're like a family almost, and that's just part of the culture here in the Auburn-Opelika area. But what really makes us special is our commitment to our core values, which are to aspire to excellence, pursue growth, foster joy, that's my favorite one, earn trust, and practice servant leadership. And in public relations, you hear so much about, core values and how they contribute to a brand, but it all kind of seems like jargon almost. But then when you get somewhere, and I'm working, I'm a recent graduate, and I'm seeing us practice those core values in everything we do, and how that makes us so successful and how that really drives us forward. And it's the companies and entities that live out their core values and really take them to heart that kind of soar. And on top of those core values, they all drive us towards our mission and vision statement, which are to make our community better through tourism and travel. Our first and most important population that we serve are the communities here in Auburn-Opelika. Everything that we do comes back to that. Are we improving the community here? Are we improving the quality of life? And tourism is such a beautiful way to do that and such a helpful way to do that, because not only are you making your community better, but you're exposing that community that you care for and love so much to other people who don't know it. And I think that that's what's really special. And it allows us to do that in special ways. Like in our events, we make sure that we are building unique experiences to the Auburn-Opelika area. So they're not just coming here and running a half marathon or playing pickleball. They're coming here and they're experiencing Auburn traditions and they're learning about the history of Opelika. And it's just so much fun to be a part of. And our team cares so deeply about this place, and that's why we're able to do it so successfully. And then on top of those things, like our team comes from such a diverse background. Like when you think of tourism, there is event management, there's sport management, there's the whole hotel booking service and the hotel like experience that needs that. And we have team members that come directly from a hotel background. We have people who come from a sports background. And then the storytelling side of it, we have expert communicators between me, Kat. I don't want to call myself an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm learning everything from
You
everyone.
are, Travis. Don't sell yourself short.
But, it's like we're from a diverse background, and we care deeply about where we work, and we care deeply about sharing that place and providing a unique experience and a positive experience to everyone who comes here. And if you're doing those things for your destination, like it's hard not to enjoy your job, enjoy the people you work with, and be passionate about what you're doing. But Auburn-Opelika it's a wonderful place and it's a wonderful team. And we're all very passionate and we're all very caring. And that's what makes us who we are. Yeah.
Well, with every interaction I have with everyone who comes on your team, it's clear to see the passion you guys have for Auburn-Opelika. So it's always great to see. But when I was prepping for this conversation, I was looking at your Playeasy profile as well as your Auburn-Opelika website, and everywhere it says you guys are the everything city. Could you explain what that means for anyone who is not familiar with Auburn-Opelika?
Yeah, so that was as a marketing professional here, that was something that I did very intentionally. It's something that the kind of brand that I wanted to build. And it kind of speaks to the diversity of the sports that we're able to host. Like we're not your massive cities that look for the biggest events, so we're building out infrastructure to host niche sports like disc golf and pickleball. Pickleball blew up over COVID, but we were laying the infrastructure for pickleball years before that happened. And because of that intentionality of, okay, where can we focus? Like, can we host bass fishing? Like, there's not a lake nearby, but there's one close enough. Like, maybe we can do it. And just building that diversity, the ability to host all different types of sports, make this a home for things like gravel racing, where you can't get that in a big city, but you don't want to do it in a town that's, maybe a one stoplight town. And we have some of those amenities that you look for in an event that you go to, but we also have access to those dirt roads that you want to ride on in a gravel race. And mountain biking, we have some of the best mountain biking trails in the state of Alabama, all within Chihuahua State Park. And we're just in such a unique position between our geographical location, having Auburn and Opelika under our belt. I mean, two separate cities that we're representing here. Those are two completely different government systems that we're working with and have their own facilities. And then on top of that, we have Auburn University here, which because of our relationship with Auburn University, we're able to use their facilities as well. And it gives us the ability to host almost everything. And so the Everything City was kind of birthed from that. But on top of that, I think it was 2020 or 2021, Auburn was killing it in all of their sports, like equestrian, golf, basketball. Football was doing football, Auburn football things. And they came out with these shirts that was like the everything school. And I remembered that from undergrad. And I was like, like we're here. we're part of this like Auburn University kind of guild, and maybe I can build on top of that brand for the destination as a whole with Auburn and Opelika. And so it's something that it took a lot of thought and practice, or not practice, but planning to execute. And now it's becoming kind of the brand that I want to build for the Auburn-Opelika area. Like, hey, you might have a 400-person event. You might have a 30-person event. You might be doing pickleball. You might be doing gravel racing. Like, we want to host it all, and we want to work with everyone. And so the Everything Cities brand just kind of fits that build really well.
I'll even add to what Travis is saying about the brand of Everything Cities, because when Auburn University was using those taglines, they were receiving accolades from the academia side. I mean, it's a top 50, top 60 public institution in our country, even up to our women's flight team was winning championships, and the diversity of those things. And so, it really plays into the community's diverse offerings that we know sports is a great vehicle for so many positive impacts in everyone's lives. I mean, from the health and wellness component, the academic access and opportunities that come with that, the good citizenship type positive impacts that it makes on who you are as a person with as you know, Kerri, you played basketball at a very high level. And there's times that you wake up and you don't want to do it, but it teaches you character, or it reveals character. And so I think the Everything Cities is yes, about sports and sports tourism, but a lot about the access and opportunities that are created here in this community. And, from a population of with Auburn being 85,000 and growing at 6.8 people on a daily basis on average move here. And then Opelika is growing very fast as well. You can just continue to see the diverse offerings that we're working towards. And that's one of our goals, is to really be the good steward of the community and help those efforts.
Mm-hmm. I love that branding. I think people don't understand how many sports are out there. I think on our last episode, we had bass fishing, and bass fishing was not something that I even knew existed as a competition. When we started Playeasy, we started with about 15 sports, and now we're at about 130. And I think you guys could host around 100 of them. So it is, I love that branding. And Anthony, to your point, I know a big initiative for your organization is to foster sports within your community first. I know we're always looking to bring in those heads in bed type of events, but it all starts with the impact it has on a community. Could you touch on just the importance and the passion that your organization has in fostering sports?
Absolutely. It's like, one of the core values, foster joy. And to us, it's kind of a way to foster that through the inside out approach. And one of the key data points that we love to share, in 2023 alone, our budget was able to return nearly 20% of it back into the community. And that equaled nearly over $520,000. So over $500,000 of our budget that is generated through visitor lodging tax was put right back into the community, whether it's sponsoring local leagues. We're involved with a grassroots youth rugby organization, from the new War Eagle Dive Club. That's a new youth USA diving club. I can go on and on and on about the different ways that we have taken, the resources that our company has and that our community has, and really work in that inside out approach. Because if you think the big topic, or the big kind of what Opelika is really known for sports wise, they're known for a lot of things, but pickleball is one of those. And I can remember the day when there was no pickleball courts from a public facility standpoint. There was no nonprofit pickleball club. There were no members. There were no tournaments. There was no local play. And now, I mean, we are seeing, 1,200 visitors a month, transient wise, just coming to the courts. The amount of pickleballs that they use in a month's time. Travis, remind me, how many pickleballs do they use in a month's time now compared to what they were?
They went from using 70 pickleballs a month, because they wear out, to 1,000. They use just like in transient, like Anthony said, like just general daily use. They go through 1,000 of them a month, which is insane.
And so it's one of those things where if we can, like with our youth lacrosse, we have a boys and girls youth lacrosse independent organization, parent-led, nonprofit. and working in collaboration with them, our city, to offer access to fields. Right now, the city of Auburn is currently building a lot of facilities, and that's why you see the impact that quality of life is on our community, and the belief that our elected officials and our Parks and Rec leaders see in the value of quality facilities, but also the opportunity to host things on the weekends. And so you see now currently turf fields getting built specifically with the intention for lacrosse to be able to access those and other sports to grow. Because we all know if you don't have access to things, you don't have opportunity. And without opportunity, you don't have these impacts that can be made. And so we really try to identify every single opportunity. Sport, obviously, my focus is sports, to really say, hey, I was talking to the leader of the rugby organization the other day, and I go, you do realize, like, we want to be there to help you in every step of the way to gain access to the fields you need, to grow your sport, to grow it into where there's adults and kids playing with the Lico Lions Rugby Foundation, so that then we can garner those, leveraging those opportunities to say, hey, we have a great club team at the university that hosts rugby, and we can bring in a regional national event. So these kids get to see, hey, I can play that in college. Hey, I may be able to go do that in the Olympics. We all know rugby sevens is super popular and what the women did during the Olympics. And so can you imagine having an opportunity to grow it locally, bring in an event, and then have those kids compete, but then watch the future of what they can do? That's our approach with it.
Yep. And it's really just the full circle. That's, I think, sometimes one of the biggest challenges that a lot of our destinations face is just the advocacy of what bringing in those national type events into a city really have the trickle down effect of the impact on the community. And so what are some ways that you communicate as a team and as an organization to your local community to get them to buy in to what you guys do?
Off the top, and I know Travis is heavily involved with this piece of it. But just like this morning, I got off radio with one of our Fox Sports radio partners with iHeartMedia, and then the day before was with our Auburn network partners, talking about, one was a cycling gravel event that raises money to produce water access and irrigation across the world, but it's a gravel race. So it brings in visitors, but it has a greater impact to students at Auburn University who get to go to Guatemala and Bolivia to literally provide water to countries that don't have it. So there's a huge impact there. On radio today was the inaugural USA Wheelchair Handball co-ed team. Never before happened. And they went to Egypt a few weeks ago and won the silver medal in the World Championships. So for us, it's a way to, tell the story of this started here in Auburn-Opelika. These are what people in our community are doing, and this is the sport they're using it with, and then how we can grow that. So there's a lot of examples that we use or that we utilize our resources. Especially, we are a DMO. We are a destination marketing organization at heart. And so Travis and the communications team do a phenomenal job of really seeing the value of promoting and communicating what our local sports organizations and people are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about telling your story, right? Like telling your story of who you are as an organization, what your goals are, what your mission is, how you're serving your community. Because, I mean, you can be serving your community, but they might not know or notice. They might just see these events coming in town and taking up their parking spots. They're not realizing the impact that it's having. And so it's making sure that you're clearly communicating that. And it sounds so simple, but it's something that takes a lot of focus, and you need to be dedicated to explaining how you're impacting your community. And it's all through relationships, right? Like, it's through our relationships with our radio network that then is able to tell our story to a greater audience here in the Auburn-Opelika. It's through our relationships with both of our city's mayors and our city's council, and building those relationships, fostering those relationships so that they are aware of what your goals are and what you're doing, so that you can start to work together and accomplish those goals together. Because what we're doing is accomplishing their goals, putting taxable dollars into our economy. And, we need their help to, allow access to the facilities. And building those relationships is just so key. And then telling the story of what you're doing is also very important. And then on top of that, those stories like USA Handball and the stories just about, even outside of sports, like telling stories about business owners in our community. Like we have an entire ongoing project that is just the people of Auburn-Opelika, and it's telling stories of locally owned business owners, how they got their start here, what their missions are here. And that, tells people a little bit about the place that they're about to visit, or tells people that live here, tells locals a little bit about somewhere they live that they might have not known. And we are the ones telling that story, so people are understanding what our goals are, and then are, more inclined to support us in our mission, which at the end of the day is to make their lives better.
Yeah.
And Kerri, I'll add that like a tangible example is we were fortunate and blessed to be able to host 2 years of the USA Cycling National Marathon Mountain Bike Championship. Through that, as Travis mentioned earlier, our urban state park is Chautauqua State Park. It's got 32 plus miles of single track trails, dual slalom. I can continue to go on and all the things that it has. And I can tell you for years, that park has thrived off mountain biking, walking trails, all that trail system, a part of other things that it has to offer. But when we had the opportunity to work with our local nonprofit mountain biking club called CAMP, Central Alabama Mountain Peddlers, who literally are stewards of those trails, they volunteer. And if anybody's ever worked on trails, that's not easy. You're in the woods, you're using shovels, backhoes, all kinds of stuff, and that is not cheap. And our partnership with Alabama State Parks and Chautauqua allows this nonprofit to do this work. Well, like anybody, if you've ever been a part of a nonprofit, you know that there's always this black hole of what? Money. And you need money to do things. And so, long story short, we were able to get the bid, to win the bid, to be able to host that event, and not only to showcase national mountain biking and, anything from a 15-year-old to an 80-plus-year-old to a pro racer, to our kids and our people in our state, because we have a very healthy mountain bike league that is through middle school and high school. And so when we were able to bring that in, A, we were able to showcase the sport, B, showcase Chautauqua State Park. Over 27 states were represented in in those attendees. A, we gave people that may not have had a reason to come to Alabama, and specifically the great part of Auburn-Opelika of Alabama, and now they're going to come back leisurely. But the biggest legacy piece that I know we are all proud of is what we were able to do, A, for the park, because of the revenue that was generated through people coming in, but two, to the nonprofit. In 2 years, just through the gate sales and some other ways of creating a good experience and generating some revenue, we were able to donate, tourism was back to camp, $15,000. That money is going to go right back into that state park. It's going to go right back into another project that Travis is leading with them with signage, trail signage, wayfinding signage, very, technologically kind of modern to where, you can scan a QR code and boom, there's your GPS routes, for the mountain biking. So we really do try to find a lot of ways to use those events that we get to host and we get to showcase to visitors. We know the economic impact's coming. Heads in beds is something that I think sometimes is just it's a phrase we know it's important because that's how we're funded. But what else are we doing besides heads in beds? Because if you do it right and you promote a good event and you put on a good event, that's coming. But the legacy piece is donating $15,000 back to a nonprofit that then goes right back into the trails.
Yes. That's awesome. And I know you've mentioned a few partnerships that you've really nurtured through the years, and which has made you as an organization successful, those being the Parks and Recreation departments, the Auburn University. Could you talk a little bit more towards those partnerships and the importance of them helping you be successful?
Well, I can say this. I know me and Travis had very little to do with building the reputation and the trust and the relationship that we have with Auburn University, Auburn Athletics, the city of Auburn, and the city of Opelika and Lee County. It goes way before us with our former CEO John Wild, amazing community member. Robin Bridges, our current CEO, and really in our board allows us to do that. But then we've really worked with, like, examples in the city of Opelika. We've worked hand in hand with them on getting grant access to build a field archery park. Well, that's here. That's a community asset. To build 2 new disc golf courses that were designed with a world championship designer. We help support that. So there's now we have 3 courses that are championship level courses. And yes, we can host things with it, but we're adding quality of life assets to our community. Recently, at that same park with those other facilities I mentioned, now there's 3D archery courses. And so those are all collaborative efforts between our office, our teammates, and the city of Opelika Parks and Recreation. Auburn, same thing, working together on different facilities and different opportunities. And then the university, I can't tell how much we are blessed to have the relationship we have with the university, and then B, the athletic department. Those are 2 different entities. And the university have facilities we can access, and also athletics. One of the biggest examples that we have is in 8 hours, literally, this was told to me by the owner of Fresh Junkie Racing, who puts on a lot of marathons, half marathons. They do stuff for St. Jude. In 8 hours, we had them over for a site visit and produced the War Eagle Run Fest, the half marathon for Auburn that's been going on for now 4 years, grown to over 4,000 runners. Places like Germany and people traveling from places like that. And that's a collaborative effort between Auburn University, City of Auburn, Auburn-Opelika Tourism, and they finish on the 50 in Jordan-Hare Stadium. And it's natural grass. And if anybody knows turf grass, they're very particular about those blades. And so that just shows the collaboration because Auburn looks at it as an opportunity to bring alumni back to the school, to the campus, but also to expose new people to what Auburn, the university, and this area, including Opelika, have to offer.
Love it. And just to go back, I know I would be remiss if I don't speak about the Opelika Sportsplex and your influence within the pickleball world. I know it started as a 12-court complex and is now at 24.
24. Yep.
It's planning to grow.
Yeah. I wrote some notes down, and literally it just said no courts, no nonprofit organization, no tournaments. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, no visitors, and no local access or opportunities. And here we are 4 or 5 years later, and we have a very unique facility over in Opelika. It's a public facility, 24/7 play. And if you can envision, and I encourage people to go to our Playeasy page and you'll see it, is 24 covered courts, all individually fenced, but with a very unique pavilion style cover. You could be in a torrential downpour and you're still playing pickleball. LED lights, they got sound systems. There's like 30 something speakers out there. It's insane what they've been able to offer. And if you can imagine it sitting on a facility that's like a YMCA, it's called the Sportsplex. And so it's got workout rooms, wellness areas, showers, locker rooms, concessions. You name it, they've got it. And what that has done, not only did a nonprofit club get formed, which has 500 plus members in it. And guess what? They're not all from Opelika and Auburn. They have multiple states in the Southeast and even in the Midwest represented because when they have access to that club, they get access to the facility when they come to play leisurely, travel-wise or transient-wise. But that's just allowed us to be able to host tournaments like APP. The club itself has a tournament committee, and they put on 3 tournaments a year called Paddles at the Plex. So they've kind of branded the facility the Plex. And so with the Sportsplex name, and they say, we've got you covered, is their term because of the facility covered. But one of the unique stories that came from that was my boss, her background expertise is PR, communications, marketing. She is an expert. She got with the same individual that represents the city of Opelika. We put a committee together called Destination Pickleball. And you better believe we were geofencing, we were marketing. to anyone and everyone about the destination pickleball opportunities that exist in Opelika. And Travis, you can tell this story about the 12 state represented RV club that came here just to see
Yeah,
the facility, just to play.
it was honestly one of one of my favorite moments in my role here so far. Is there was a group, it's like a Facebook group chat that is the Navajo RV Club, I believe, is the kind of RV that they all own. Like, they all own the exact same RV. And they've been driving around the country for years. And then a little pocket subgroup of that got started. That was the Navajo RV Pickleball group. And literally all they do is drive around the country and visit different pickleball facilities that they explore. And they found our facility simply through generic search on our website, and they showed up. And I believe it was Anthony who was out there, and he calls me like randomly on a random day of the week. He's like, Travis, there's this group out here that we didn't invite, and they're here playing pickleball. Like, you have to come interview these people. So I drive down I get the guy's number from Anthony, and I schedule an interview with them. They were here for 4 days, all 4 days, just playing pickleball. And so I scheduled an interview with their team. I showed up, or not their team, their group. And I showed up and I was taking pictures, interviewed them, asked them where they were from. They were from all over the United States. Like, there were people one of them was from either New Jersey or New York, I can't remember, Virginia, Florida, and then there was someone out west
The
as well.
Midwest.
Yeah. And I interviewed them, and they were just so ecstatic to the fact that they were getting interviewed for doing what they do. I turned it into a blog and used it as a landing page for marketing materials. And then on top of that, as a thank you for them doing the interview and everything, we provided them with a gift card to a locally owned restaurant. So that's another way that, like, our money gets tied back into our economy. And we provided these visitors with such a unique experience that they not only got to come and they loved the facility, but they plan to come back. They plan to come back with more people, and they plan to rent out our entire Spring Villa RV park and bring as many people as they can, take up every spot, and have their own like pickleball tournaments and play for a week. And I cannot wait for them to be back in town and continue to tell their story. It was funny, while I was talking to them, I was just like hearing their stories and their adventures and how everything got started. Man, I wanted to quit my job, buy an RV, and travel around the country playing pickleball with these people, because they were also relaxed, they were also nice, and it's just the way that sport has impacted their lives too is so positive. It was like one of the quotes from it was, I used to be driving around the country with no purpose. Now I'm driving around the country playing pickleball. It's just like, it's so wholesome. And
Sometimes if you build it, they will come. It's not
100%.
always the truth. Let's don't build everything and think everyone's coming. But it has been so true in the sense of a lot of the things we've seen, specifically the pickleball, because as Travis alluded to, I was giving a speech to a bunch of local leaders about the facility and the impact it was making. And you would have thought I paid this guy to walk up and tell this story. And they say, "Hey, Anthony, this guy wants to tell you something." And I said, "Hey, sir, how you doing?" And I could tell he was not in this group. He was here to play pickleball. He said, "I came here to play pickleball." And I said, "Let me ask you a couple questions." I said, "You ever been here before?" "No." "How many people you with?" "Well, we got a group of 12 different people from 12 different states." And I'm like, "Okay, you've never been here for a tournament?" "No." No one. And then I went, and this is the typical story we hear, because they're probably retiree age, probably have kids in the age of maybe in college or out of college. I said, "Let me guess, some of your kids went to Auburn?" "No." So then I said, "What brought you here?" And he just goes, this, pointing to the facility. And that is the power of what we all do in this industry. And everyone listening to this is going to know, and they're going to be nodding their head saying, we've got stories like that. And for Travis and my boss to be like, let's go, make their experience as best as possible, and then let them tell their story so we can tell that story. Because it goes back to your earlier question, Kerri. That was an opportunity for us to go tell. I've done it on our radio programs. We've done press releases. Travis wrote a blog. And we will continue to tell stories like that to our community so they know why it's important. Because look, we're all citizens and we all get kind of grumpy in a sense over certain things that are being built or being done. And as I've learned in tourism specifically, whether it's the food, the entertainment, the sport, the whatever, every one of us humans have a different like, a different interest, and a different experience that we get out of something. And so for us, like many of us in this profession, we try to find every bit of that positive experience to meet everyone, not just the attendees, not just the participants for talking sporting events, but the staff of those rights holders, because they get a different experience with different destinations. And so I think that's a value that we really bring, and it exudes in what we do every day.
100%. And it all ties back to us having that relationship while they were building the facility. Us being a part of Destination Pickleball, advising them on how to construct the facility. And maybe we don't know the answers, but we can bring in an expert who can advise you on how to build this facility so it's the best experience possible for your residents, but it still has the capability to host tournaments. And all of that comes from advocating what you're able to provide your city governments and building that relationship with them. That way, when they are planning a new project and it is going to happen, you're involved in that process. It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah. I love that story for so many reasons. You took the words out of my mouth. You build it, they will come. But also, a lot of times when we think about sports tourism, we're thinking a lot about youth sports. And so when I told my dad that story, you better believe he almost bought an RV to join the club. But I think it's incredible, the power of storytelling and really just the scope of people who are involved in this world of sports tourism that we don't even think of. And so I love that. And Travis, you just mentioned the importance and kind of your involvement with your expertise as an organization. What kind of support and resources do you provide event organizers, maybe outside of just hosting their event?
Yeah, well, I mean, it really is about them knowing what we can provide them. And those things come from, the marketing efforts that we can help provide them to tell their story, even if we're not directly involved. If they're based out of here, like, we want to tell their story. The connections that we have, and we can help build bridges for them. But Robin, our president and CEO, her favorite thing to say is that I knock down barriers and I build bridges for you. And we, take that to heart, and we do it for other people in the community. A great example of how we provided lots of services to a specific individual is Logan Parks and his fishing tournament. Logan Parks is an Auburn local who has grown up here his whole life, went to school here, and he was a bass fisher. And when he was in high school, he had the opportunity to fish with college anglers because they needed a boat captain who was of age to drive a boat. And he has been very successful in his career and made it to the elite level. And he came to our team with the idea of hosting his own tournament and hosting his own bass fishing tournament. And he didn't know how to do that. He didn't know how to, organize a bass fishing tournament, but then on top of like just the event side of things, promote a bass fishing tournament, how to get people to register. And because of the diversity of our team, we know how to assist with that. We know how to get people hotel room. We know how to make sure that outside of the tournament, they are having a positive experience here, providing him with connections to Auburn University and the athletics department so he can host welcomes and award presentations in their facilities. And he came to us with this idea with a very unique style of bass fishing tournament where it's structured completely differently, and it's pairing high school and college anglers together. And we don't know anything about bass fishing, but he's the expert there, and we're the experts in how to make events successful. And so from complete abstract concept to full in the area, I don't know what the timeline was with that, Anthony, but the tournament is just finished its second year, and it was wildly successful. He had anglers from 25 to 30 different states here in the Auburn area to fish at Lake Martin, which isn't even in our county. I mean, there was someone from Hawaii who traveled all the way here just to be a part of this tournament because he's building such a unique experience. And like I said, we don't know anything about bass fishing, but he does. And we're able to build those bridges and assist him with all of the other efforts that it takes to make that successful. Does that kind of that touches on your question? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that story as well. It's not something, it could have been nothing and to have
Right.
provided no heads and beds, and it could have just been fostering that sport within your community, but turned into a revenue generator for the community, which is awesome.
Oh, and I'll even add, I mean, when Logan sat down with me, golly, that was 4 years ago. And like Travis said, it's the second year. So that's how long it took from concept to creation to success. And this is a widely supported event because the university, he endowed a scholarship through his nonprofit, Logan Parks Fishing Foundation, to the college, to Auburn University, to go towards the fishing club, because Auburn's fishing club is very successful, won multiple national championships, Logan being one of those. And he really saw, because he said, he was like, look, I was playing traditional sports, traditional. I don't like the word traditional. I don't like it. But that was in the time of his life he was playing baseball, and I think he didn't make a team or something, so he turned to something he really loved and had an opportunity to be on a high school fishing team. I didn't have that opportunity when I was going through high school. I wish, but that's the kind of stuff that we look at, is how can we create those opportunities? And you said it earlier, Kerri, it's youth. Hey, it's all about youth, because like Project Play has the 53% of youth playing sport by year 30. That brings so many positive things, the healthy piece of it being one of the main things, and just what sport provides. But the university sees the benefit of, you got high school and college kids coming to your campus, and guess what? 300 anglers, and guess who has to also come? Moms, dads, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles. I saw grandparents at this, 600 plus people. And it's amazing because it's a college recruiting aspect of it, because a high school student is wanting to be on that bass fishing team at whatever college. And can you imagine Auburn University saying, yes, we will let other schools, colleges come in and do a vendor fair, like a career fair. And they do this in the Auburn football locker room. So they're getting to see amazing facilities, a unique thing that they may not have ever gotten to see, while getting potentially their next opportunity, which is to be in scholarship at some other school. And so that just shows the collaboration, but the belief in, hey, this is not just about Auburn-Opelika Tourism. It's not just about Logan. It's not just about Auburn University. It's about what we're doing for these individuals. And I think one thing we all focus on in this industry, and it's not just AO Tourism, but we do focus on segments of sport, youth, adults. And one thing is a super passion of mine is adaptive sports. And so we really try to leverage those. And to your question, when there's a sport that may not be real big in this area, and whether it be the state of Alabama, the Southeast, or in our community, we really try to say, hey, give us that opportunity, because I promise you that under promise, over deliver is one of our keys of best practices, because I can promise you we're going to over deliver. And if we can help you create a footprint for your sport, because we all want all sports to grow, right? We all want more people playing, whatever age they are, whatever ability they have, and whatever socioeconomic status they're in, to have those opportunities. So if we say, hey, we'll take care of the experiences, we'll take care of, you call the balls and strikes, you do whatever it is the tournament operations need, but we're going to take care of you everywhere between the beginning of the event, during the event, and after the event. And if we can spread that sport and create that impact here locally, because you never know, if we were able to host, say, we're a big aquatics area. We have a lot of swimming, and diving is growing. But what if we were able to host artistic swimming or water polo? And then all of a sudden somebody says, I played that sport, I want to grow that sport, I'm going to start a club myself.
Yeah, and then kind of building upon something Anthony said there, taking it from concept to creation and everything, is our team members truly become an extension of the team of whoever we're working with. Like, it's not, if it's not fostering here, let's say we're bringing in an outside group like USA Cycling was, and it's an established entity that's coming to host here. We're not just like, all right, cool, got the bid, y'all come do your thing, and then like we are having meetings with every single organization that we work with outside and inside of our communities. And like us committing that time outside of the office to get to know the people that we're working with and build those relationships, even outside of the Auburn-Opelika area, or with people who are trying to build a sport in the Auburn-Opelika area, and becoming an extension of their team really helps foster that relationship. And then they're a part of the connections that we now have, right? And now, maybe the city is getting interested in diving or, vice versa. It's just, we're able to build bridges for everyone because we ourselves are taking the time and putting in the effort to truly commit to everyone that we work with. And that's just another best practice. Like making yourself an extension of another team is a best practice that we use, which is a part of that servant leadership core value that we have, really taking it upon your shoulders to carry the weight wherever you can.
You guys just answered my next question, which was why should an event organizer bring their host into Auburn-Opelika? And if these last, 40 minutes haven't sold you enough, I don't know what will. But is there anything you'd like to add?
I mean, I think one of the things is treat each client with a red carpet experience, because it doesn't matter the size of the event, the capacity, the notoriety that comes with it. I've been blessed to be a part of a lot of different sports. I think over time I've had a hand in about 25 different sports. I mean, even chess and esports, those different opportunities that are really growing. And so I think for us, I used to have comments made, not when I was here, but in my event planning days, where they're like, oh, track and field is coming. They're the bigger sport. You're going to do a lot more for them. And I think I just really realized, working with team handball for over 13 years and now seeing we're back with wheelchair handball, that every sport deserves its elevation. And Kerri, you and I spoke about that on the showroom floor of teams about what? Women's sports, and specifically women's basketball. And so I think for me, it's just taking that love of what we do, because I love sport, but I love the business of sport. And I love the people that are in it. And I love to see the awards, the positive experience. Yes, we all want the medals. We all want the trophies. We all want the accolades. But those experiences, as I was talking to our head diving coach at Auburn University, because we're collaborating very closely on the dive club and hosting some big events. And I said, Coach, what does your athletes think about when they come to an area to dive in a very big event, small event, or maybe one that they're potentially getting into the Olympic trials? Who knows how big it is? And I said, what do they remember? And he said, more than likely nothing in that pool. He said they remember what the community they visited, the people they met, the volunteers, the staff who helped put it on, the taste, the flavor of that community. So I think it's treat each client with that red carpet experience, regardless of size, if it's hosting it 1 year or it's going to be a 20-year marriage that we're working towards hosting. So it's just treat everybody with the most respect, and that their event is the Super Bowl of their sport.
And I'll give you a very, very quick, easy answer. And it's Auburn-Opelika is easy to get to, and we're easy to love. That's our tag.
I love that. Coming from the marketing expert. So our last two questions. So what is the biggest lesson you guys have learned being in this industry?
Oh, man.
People, network, relationships. I know we say it all the time in this industry, but just Monday, I was on a phone call for an hour with another destination partner / friend, and we were just talking regional tourism partnerships, unique opportunities, and as much just really that is relationships with groups like yours, the conference, the folks that put on the conferences. you need to build those relationships. It doesn't matter if you think they're your competitor or not. We're all competing at some point against each other, but the collaborative effort is just matched in this industry. And I think that's the biggest thing I've taken away from it.
For me, it's I don't know if it's so much as like the biggest lesson I've learned, but it's the most special thing that I think I've witnessed, whether it's a conference or a certain sport that's here. But the the communities that exist around these experiences that we're providing are so special. And something I've said forever is that unique experiences breed unique relationships. You know, like you have like your work friends that like because you work together, you have such a unique relationship together. Or like the people you went on that trip with one time, you know? And all that we are helping do is facilitate more unique experiences to help breed those unique relationships. And like seeing that and understanding that, it's like, okay, yeah, I might not care about gravel racing, like I might not do it, but the people and the experience that I'm providing them is so special to them. And me getting to play a part in that and help them grow their relationship within their community is something that's truly, truly special and something that, you know, gives me even more work ethic and gives me more passion for what I'm doing because I'm providing people with unique experiences. And I'm such a fan of those friends that I made during that one unique internship I had, you know, or like random jobs that I worked. Like one time I was a cart guy at a golf course and like I have friends from that are so different than like what my typical friends that I hang out with are, but it's just it's a very beautiful thing to see that. And that's why I love that saying so much.
I love both of those answers and definitely going to steal those for future
He's
for
got the
future aspect.
a lot.
You have my blessing.
Yeah,
Go for it.
thank you. And last question, what are you guys most looking forward to coming up here in Auburn, Opelika?
The growth. I mean, it's unmatched. The growth that our state's seeing, and then our area of the state, which I'm biased is the best. But I mean, like I said earlier, Auburn's growing at 6.8 people per day on average move here, and Opelika is growing one of the, I think, top 5 in the state. So as one of our mayors says, there's a lot of holes in the ground, and that's a lot. That's good. There's growth. Our parks and recs, both Auburn and Opelika. I mean, there is hundreds of millions of dollars being put into new facilities, upgrades, new developments. You're seeing it all over the place. And so I think it's just exciting to see what that's going to do for our local opportunities because I have a 7-year-old. I coach, I'm involved with all these youth sports, whether my kid's playing or not. So to see kids and individuals, remember, we're not just about the youth sports, adult sports, adaptive sports. We've seen some new like wheelchair tennis is now in Auburn, wheelchair handball, those kind of things. So just seeing what the growth of our community is going to breed when it comes to what we've been talking about on this podcast, access and opportunity. I think that's my most exciting thing. And then selfishly, what events, cool events, notable events, and impact that we can make with those opportunities to host. So,
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, for me it's just all about laying roots and just like really extending the foundation of AOT within this community. Like the growth that's happening here is so exciting, but like I'm just excited to get more involved personally and professionally. Like I mean, I'm learning new things and meeting new people every single week and day that I'm here, and it's so much fun. Like I'm a people person. I love meeting people, but then on top of that, like getting more involved in the community as an individual. Like Anthony connected me with a youth lacrosse coach. Like I'm gonna,
he's
start
gonna coach.
coaching lacrosse. And like I can't wait. Like I cannot wait to be a part of that. And not only like am I now doing what I love at work, like in a personal way, like a more personal way than just helping them grow their league, but I'm gonna be involved directly in the development of these players and everything. And it's just I'm just very excited to continue to help foster the growth here and continue to help lay the foundation of what Auburn-Opelika can be, and tell the story of how that's happening and tell the story of who we already are and who we're going to be along the way. Like, I love storytelling. I love sharing experiences with people, and I'm just going to continue to get to do that in bigger and bigger and bigger ways. And it's very exciting, and I look forward to it.
And to
every
wrap
single
it up, I think the core values that Travis talked about earlier, he spoke about a lot of those in what he was saying. Obviously, you see the foster joy exude out of Travis and really all of us. But servant leadership, that's a top-down approach from our board, our CEO. I mean, she eats, sleeps, and breathes servant leadership, and that's, to me, the best way and the only way to lead. And for Travis, to literally, this was last week, he said, I want to help the youth lacrosse. I played, I did this. And he said, I want to coach. I said, well, that's the one thing we know youth leagues always need is good coaches, quality coaches, not just a coach. But that's the kind of stuff that we do here. And we're just two people on a very good team, a great team that all have some kind of servant leadership, whether they're on boards, they're involved in sport leagues or whatever, because and Travis doesn't even have a child on this team. He doesn't even have a child. But yet he is willing and able to go serve his community and serve a sport that he loves, but also a sport that we know has a lot of potential here.
I love it. Anthony and Travis, I told you guys I could talk to you guys for hours, so we'll definitely have to have you back on at some point. But thank you so much for your time. This has been a blast. Until next time, thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.